My parents stole $45,000 from my grandmother to cover up my sister's drunk driving accident. Now they're facing charges for insurance fraud. I'm 31 and the youngest in my family. I have 3 elder siblings. My oldest brother Ethan is 45 and resides in Singapore. New Zealander Jacob is 43. My sister Madeline, 36, resides in our native country but around a 7-hour journey from our parents. I went to Brazil 6 years ago for employment. Distance helps occasionally. Mother always handled Ethan differently. He was born with severe asthma. The hospital kept him for weeks. Our mother describes those weeks as a solo fight. Back then, our father worked extra shifts to cover medical expenditures. In that hospital room, she spent much of the time alone. She claims that event linked them permanently. Nobody else had a chance after that. Our mother talks about Ethan every time we call. I contacted her last month to announce my promotion. After congratulating me, she spent 40 minutes informing me about Ethan's Singapore law firm partnership. She advised me to call him for career guidance. Agriculture exports are my job. Ethan handles corporate law. No overlap. Because airfares are pricey, I seldom visit home, but our mother gives me images on her phone. The majority are of Ethan, Olivia, and their 2 children. She has countless images of them. She has about 20 Jacob family photographs. She has less Madeline. She has 10 images of myself, half from when I was a teenager. My girlfriend Emily is sometimes called Olivia. Emily told me after the 3rd time. I didn't notice. Ethan is free to say whatever to our parents. When he was at college, our mother phoned me at 2 a.m. She was crazy. Ethan warned her that her excessive phoning was hurting his life and that she should stop. My phone call lasted an hour as she wept. Next day I phoned to check on her. She pretended nothing had occurred. She said I misinterpreted her and that Ethan was anxious from examinations. Mom and Dad visit Ethan in Singapore 3 times a year. They spend 3 weeks each time. They only visited me for 4 days because they had a stopover in Sao Paulo on their way back from Singapore, and I urged them to prolong it. They only visited Jacob once in 8 years in New Zealand. Though difficult, I'll try to clarify the money position. Our parents have given us money for various things over the years. Total, $210,000 for Ethan. That included educational aid, a first apartment down payment, and wedding funds. Jacob earned $270,000. The money went for college, a failed business venture, and a home down payment. For university and her wedding, Madeline received $85,000. My university funding was $38,000. Jacob's the angrier about money despite having more than Ethan on paper. That's due to property events. Our parents made us a bargain in 2012. Their farm was near the seaside in our hometown. Once the land was valued $380,000. They offered the property to whichever child would build a house and care for them when they became older. None of us would benefit. That was unjust, Jacob remarked. He suggested selling the land and splitting the proceeds 4 ways. Our parents declined. This would assure one of their children will be there for them, they argued. Jacob and our parents fought for 2 years. Jacob mentioned it every holiday and call. One of us would gain $380,000 more from the land's worth, he showed in spreadsheets. Parents wouldn't budge. Then Ethan intervened. He accepted their demands. He constructed a home there. He spent $140,000 building it. He joined Olivia. It was their home for 3.5 years. Then a Singapore company offered Ethan a job. He took. He traveled worldwide. He leases the house. He owns the property. About $620,000 now. Jacob phoned me after Ethan moved. He didn't shout, just stated he finally realized that our parents always organized. Ethan won, and we were meant to grin and accept. 6 months ago, our parents announced they were buying a Singapore property. They stated it was a family investment. They promised we'd inherit it jointly. Ethan lives 3 blocks from the house. Ethan provided the location. He joined viewings. He helped negotiate pricing. The purchase cost $570,000. 3 weeks after buying it, Jacob banned our parents on his phone, email, and everything. Nobody knew he was doing it. Our mother panicked and called me to see whether he was okay. I hadn't. A month later, Jacob wrote me a long note. Finished, he said. He thought he was exaggerating or oversensitive about the favoritism for years. He thought the Singapore home supported his point. He stated our mother had always detested his wife Hannah and was weary of seeing her cold toward her at family occasions. He stated his kids needed grandparents that cared about them, not only chatted about Ethan's kids. He claimed to be calm. He desired serenity. I hear from our mother practically daily. She asks whether Jacob contacted me. She inquires about Hannah. She asks for Jacob's kids' fresh photographs. She gives me screenshots of undeliverable text messages to Jacob. Why he won't talk to her is beyond her. She claims unconditional support for him throughout his life. She accuses him of cruelty and injustice. Losing sleep over this, she says. She claims she wants her son back, giving her non-answers. Yes, maybe. I don't know. I'll notify her if I hear anything. Don't entangle me. I didn't cause this. I won't repair it. I received copies of her Jacob emails last week. She asked me to read and evaluate them. She said Gregory would read them if I liked them. Read them. Those were horrible. Everyone emphasized her sorrow. She wrote of her nighttime tears. She wrote on her inability to perceive her grandkids as unjust. She wrote about Gregory punishing her for her inactions. No correspondence acknowledged Gregory's possible reasons for his choice. No email apologized specifically. Hannah was only mentioned in one email to wish her well. I told our mother the emails were useless. Defense ensued. I was asked what to write instead. She suggested I show her a better email if I was smart. I saw a chance. I offered to compose a sample email provided she pledged not to send it. I told her to use it as a model for her own version. I told her Gregory would know if she copied and pasted my writing. She was offended that I suggested she replicate someone else's remarks. She pledged not to send mine. David, my friend, helped me compose it. Writer David is good at this. It took 3 hours. The email apologized first. Not an apology for her feelings, but for past deeds. It apologized for making Gregory feel second to Ethan. It gave instances. It apologized for the property problem and said Ethan profited most. It personally apologized to Hannah for years of coldness and stated she never deserved it. It claimed our mother wanted to be with Gregory's children but knew she had to earn it back. She stated she hoped Gregory would attend my wedding but wouldn't use it to force a confrontation or reconciliation. She wanted to construct something new with him and needed his help because she couldn't repair it herself. It went to our mother 5 weeks ago. She read and phoned me immediately. My mother called me a great son. The email was wonderful, she remarked. She claimed it expressed everything she couldn't express. She stated she agreed with everything except Hannah. Since she didn't like Hannah, she couldn't apologize. She said she'd erase that paragraph and send the remainder. Lost it. She agreed not to send my version, I reminded her. I reminded her that the goal was to compose her own email using mine as a model. She retreated. Joking, she said. He responded, of course, she wouldn't just copy and paste it. But I knew she wasn't kidding. I knew she'd planned that. It wasn't her email. Instead, she sent another. Same as before. Everything was about her agony and uncertainty. Gregory ignored that one too. After that, I gave up. When our mother phones, I answer. I don't know anything. Gregory is doing his own thing. I shift the subject. I'm done believing she'll realize her mistake. My wedding is 3 months away. No idea if Gregory will arrive. He hasn't responded to my invitation. Our mother has said the wedding will unify the family. She ignores my 2 warnings that my wedding is not about her Gregory drama. I'm sick of being involved. Phone calls bore me. I'm sick of pretending I don't know why Gregory cut her off. I wish I had his courage. I know if I did, I'd become Gregory again. Ethan or Madeline received daily calls inquiring about me. I never read her emails. She cried to anybody who would listen. Ethan would stay in the middle, receiving what he wants, like usual. Update 1. Gregory will attend the wedding. As is Madeline, as is Ethan. I didn't expect this would happen, but all 3 confirmed last week. Things have changed since my initial post. Some is nice, some is odd. Our parents bought their Singapore home first. They now own it. In the family group chat, our mother uploaded a snapshot of Olivia with the house keys. The shot showed Ethan smiling in the background. Our father wrote about their new investment and excitement. After then, Madeline started a new group chat. Only 4 siblings. I laughed when she named it the Legacy Panic Room. The 4 of us had our first talk without our parents in years. Madeline sent a snapshot of what our mother sent her via e-card. An e-card photo showed Ethan's 2 children. The text says grandkids are the greatest blessing. The snapshot omitted Madeline's 2 children. Madeline stated she spent 20 minutes eyeing that e-card to see if our mother did it on purpose or didn't recognize how it appeared. Jacob wrote that it was intentional. He stated our mother had been doing it for decades, and we pretended not to notice because it was simpler. I messaged Jacob in agreement. I informed them about the email and how our mother refused to apologize to Hannah. Madeline answered with a series of texts concerning our mother's passive-aggressive statements about Samuel throughout the years. She stated our mother told her Samuel appeared like a man who'd leave in a pinch. Samuel and Madeline married 12 years ago. Ethan was silent in conversation for 2 days. He wrote that being the favored made family issues difficult. He stated he didn't ask for it and couldn't fix it. The end. No apologies, only recognition. It exceeded my expectations from him. Our mother continued calling about the wedding. She wanted to chat to Gregory during the reception. She stated he may listen if they were in a nice place with the whole family. What to say to him was planned, she said. No, I said. I stated the wedding wasn't about her and Gregory. I threatened to have her escorted out if she cornered him or forced a discussion. I've never addressed her that way. She was quiet for a while. She pledged to behave. 2 weeks ago, Ethan sent me a private message outside the sibling group chat. He wanted to help after thinking about everything. He stated he messaged Jacob and Madeline individually. He denied trying to correct anything. He only wanted them to know he understood their frustration. I asked him why he reached out. He'd discussed it with Olivia. He claimed Olivia predicted our parents wouldn't be around forever and the 4 of us would be the sole family. He didn't want to cause his siblings animosity. Our mother learned Ethan messaged Jacob and Madeline. Not sure how. Ethan may have informed her or she saw anything on his phone when she visited. She contacted me to say she was glad Jacob received her letters. I corrected her. I denied her letters. I said Ethan reached out alone. A moment passed before she spoke. That was kind of Ethan, she remarked. She sounded unhappy. Emily recommended I video call all the siblings before the wedding. She suggested we discuss what might happen and set some ground rules. I liked the idea. So I messaged the Legacy Panic Room to see if everyone wanted to call. Jacob agreed, Madeline agreed, Ethan agreed. Last Thursday night was the date. The call lasted 90 minutes. We looked awkward on screen together. Jacob looked older. Madeline cropped her hair. Ethan called from his City View office with enormous windows. We first avoided discussing our parents. Just caught up. Jacob described his job. Madeline described her kids' school. Ethan discussed his case. Felt normal. It seemed like sibling chatter. Emily, seated next to me on the call, suggested we discuss the wedding. The crowd became silent. I just wanted a smooth day. I didn't want our mother surrounding everyone or our father giving awkward remarks. I desired a day when we could all be in the same room without it being bad. Jacob stated he came to the wedding to support me but not to reconcile with our parents. He stated he'd be courteous if they spoke to him but wouldn't lie. Madeline agreed. Ethan threatened to intercede if our mother attempted. He promised to keep her occupied at the reception so Jacob and Madeline wouldn't have to. That was appreciated by Jacob. I may have heard Jacob thank Ethan for the first time in 12 years. If things grew tense, Madeline would text a code word to the group chat and we'd all rush to the troublemaker. Pineapple was the code. Emily found that humorous. Jacob ended the conversation by saying he was bringing Hannah and the kids. Hannah first didn't want to attend since she didn't want to see our mother, but he convinced her it was vital. Madeline stated she was bringing Samuel and their kids. Olivia was coming with their kids, Ethan remarked. I realized during that call that this was the first time in years the 4 of us had decided without our parents. The plan was created. We agreed on their treatment, acting as a team. My mother phoned me the next day. She inquired about Jacob, said I had. She questioned about his talkability. I only mentioned he was coming to the wedding. She asked if she may talk to him. I responded I didn't know and she should enjoy the wedding without worrying about Jacob. We'll try, she said. I disbelieved her. Emily's brothers offered to quiet the welcome. Both are huge males and can steer unpleasant talks. I warned them about our mother's intentions, promised to handle it. The wedding is 3 weeks away. RSVPs are in. All my siblings agreed. Each family confirmed. Our parents agreed. Emily's family agreed. About 75 individuals are expected. I don't anticipate a flawless day. I don't expect Jacob to forgive her or our mother to become self-aware. I expect to be married, have a good celebration, and handle the day without big issues. That seems my best option. Update 2. Bride and groom married. Some went better than intended. Some aspects were as predicted. Unanticipated section. We hosted a family dinner the day before the wedding. About 20 people, my brothers, their spouses, our parents, and Emily's close relatives. Jacob and Madeline arrived. They shared an airport cab after arriving on the same aircraft. They laughed as they entered the restaurant. It was years since I'd seen them interact. They appeared calm. Ethan, Olivia, and their kids arrived 20 minutes later. He immediately approached me and Jacob. Shook Jacob's hand. He enjoyed seeing him. Jacob nodded but said little. Madeline hugged Olivia, surprising me. I doubt they'd ever been close. Our parents came last. We saw our father as usual. We know our mother cried before she arrived. She had swollen eyes. To hide it, she used too much makeup. She attempted to approach Jacob immediately. She was stopped by Ethan. He presented her to Emily's parents. Our mom smiled and chatted. She glanced at Jacob every few minutes. The meal was fine. People ate. Several spoke. Our father spoke briefly about how glad he was to see all his children. Our mother was silent. Her dinner was scarcely touched. She stood and went to the restroom. Madeline stood near the hall. Mom stopped and spoke to her. Madeline replied briefly and left. Later, Madeline informed me in the group chat that our mother inquired whether Jacob would forgive her. Madeline said she didn't know. Jacob chatted with Emily's brother during supper. I chatted to Hannah about her flight and how the kids were adjusting to the time difference. Our mother wasn't mentioned. Hannah was never approached by our mother. Then Ethan stood and tapped his glass. The crowd became silent. I expected him to toast me and Emily, which I was cool with. That's typical for rehearsal dinners. He said it was nice to see everyone. He stated family was tough, but vital. Standard fare. Then he faced our parents. He requested that the toast focus on me and Emily, not him. Despite taking up a lot of family space over the years, he claimed this weekend wasn't about that. He stated this was my moment and wanted to preserve it. Complete silence fell over the table. Mom blanked. Dad looked at his plate. Jacob looked at Ethan as if to determine if it was a joke. Ethan lifted his glass and said, "Congratulations to me and Emily." Everyone did too. People drank. Conversation resumed hesitantly. Emily grabbed my hand under the table. Madeline lifted her eyebrows at me from across the room. He didn't react, but Jacob subsequently remarked it was Ethan's first nice deed in 12 years in the sibling group chat. Jacob and Madeline received an email from our mother the next morning. She sent it to me too. New Leaf was the topic. The email claimed she enjoyed the evening. She felt lucky to have such a lovely family. She then wrote 3 paragraphs describing how much she enjoyed spending time in Singapore near Ethan and Olivia and seeing their kids anytime she wanted. She wanted to spend more time there after the wedding. Madeline's kids weren't mentioned. She didn't say Madeline lived in her nation. She didn't notice Jacob barely talked to her over dinner. Jacob answered the email an hour later. His message was brief. He was pleased she liked supper. He liked seeing her at big events like weddings, but didn't want to keep in touch. He hoped she would respect that limit. Madeline responded by raising a boat-blocking bridge. I laughed seeing that. I ignored the email. It was erased. The wedding went well. Our father sobbed at the ceremony. Ethan helped set the chairs when one row collapsed before the event. Jacob and his family sat back. Our mother didn't look at them from the front row. At the reception, the DJ played a song and urged parents to dance with their kids. Our dad danced with Madeline. Our mother approached Jacob. She requested a dance. "Yes," he said. I think they danced for 90 seconds. Neither grinned. Jacob returned to his table and our mother went to the restroom after the song. Later in the evening, the reception was better. All 4 siblings sat at the same table. Our wives went elsewhere, just the 4 of us. We chatted for 40 minutes. We chatted about job, travel, kids and childhood memories. None mentioned our parents. No one mentioned the property, money or Singapore residence. It felt right all along. The next morning we enjoyed hotel breakfast. All siblings and families attended. Parents joined us. Kids ran with each other. Adults ate and spoke. It was nearly typical. Mom phoned 3 days after I returned from my honeymoon. She sounded strange. Her tone was bland. She contemplated the wedding. She said she was imperfect. Maybe she wasn't a good mother, she said, not knowing what to say. I responded, "Thank you for saying that." She shut up. We parted after a few more small chat minutes. Problems remain. I doubt Jacob will call her. I doubt she'll quit liking Ethan. But something changed. Now the 4 siblings have a group chat where we converse. We'll meet again at Christmas. Only our brothers and family. No parents. Okay. Enough for now. Update 3. It all went apart again. I should have expected it to end. Ethan phoned 5 weeks ago. He was surprised that our parents lived 3 streets away in Singapore. Our mother visits him virtually daily, he added. He stated she calls if he doesn't respond in a few hours. He stated she started criticizing Olivia's parenting. He called it suffocating. His plight didn't bother me. I told him this was what the rest of us had handled our whole lives from afar. He claimed he knew now. Madeline planned a New Year's excursion to Iceland for our siblings and families. She shared it on group chat. She supplied flight and hotel links. She advised us to establish our own traditions without our parents. Jacob said yes. I promised Emily and I would come. Ethan would have to consult Olivia, but he believed they might work. Our mother learned about the trip. She contacted Madeline to see why she wasn't invited. Madeline said the vacation was for siblings only. Our mother found that insulting and exclusive. Madeline regretted our mother's feelings but wouldn't change the plan. In the family group chat, our mother posted. It concerned Jacob's daughter's scientific project. His daughter made a volcano model. Our mother compared it to Ethan's son's volcanic science project 3 years ago. She reported that Ethan's son won first in his school's science fair. Jacob answered. He stated his daughter's project was about geology, not volcanoes, and comparing youngsters' achievements wasn't useful. He requested that our mother congratulate his daughter without mentioning Ethan. Our mother didn't answer, but she called an hour later. She stated Jacob was sensitive. She stated she wanted to bond with her grandchildren. Why everything she did was wrong eluded her. I was phoned by Madeline last month. She was reviewing our parents' old documentation at her place. She found their will. 8 months after buying the Singapore property, it was dated. The will gave Ethan and his children the entire Singapore mansion. Jacob's part would be held in trust while the 4 of us shared the estate. Trusts had conditions. Jacob could only acquire the money if he contacted our parents again. The will defined frequent communication as monthly calls and 1-year visit. Madeline's and my shares were conditionless, our portions would be guaranteed. Maddie was outraged. She posted a sibling group chat snapshot of the pertinent pages. She couldn't believe our parents would use inheritance to compel Jacob to remain with them. A day went by without Jacob's conversation mention. He posted one message. He considered the money irrelevant. He valued principle. He stated this demonstrated he cut them off correctly. Ethan said he was present when our dad signed the paperwork but hadn't read it. He denied knowing about the trust requirement. He was tired of hurting others. He claimed he'd discussed modifying it with our parents. Madeline phoned Mom immediately. Madeline told me our mother defended the will, but I don't remember anything. Our mother stated Jacob left the family and deserved penalties. Using inheritance to punish Jacob was manipulative, Madeline told our mother. Our mother maintained she was only keeping the family together. Our mother then called a family meeting. She told the group chat we needed to communicate. Her video call was last Sunday. All 4 siblings answered the call. Both parents were on. Initially, our father spoke most. He indicated the will was prepared fast and could need revision. He stated they didn't mean to injure. Mom intervened. She said Jacob wounded her initially by cutting off touch. She stated she wanted to protect herself and keep her grandkids. She explained the trust was supposed to persuade Jacob to rethink, not punish him. Unmuted Jacob. He didn't want conditional money. He stated his kids wouldn't need an inheritance from grandparents who never treated them fairly. He advised our parents to leave everything to Ethan and cease pretending we mattered. Ethan spoke. He refused the Singapore mansion if it would cause so much damage. He preferred our parents selling it and splitting the proceeds. Our mother explained they weren't selling the house because it was an investment. Madeline wanted a formal promise that the bequest would be conditional on nothing. She advised our parents to disinherit us directly rather than via trusts. Dad waived the trust requirement. He stated they'd change the will to equalize. That section of the discourse was silent from our mother. Instead of simply Ethan's kids, I wanted them to spend time with all their grandkids. I replied if they were in Singapore near Ethan's relatives, they should visit us too. Our mom stated travel was costly. I noted they'd visited Singapore 3 times in 8 months. The call ended unresolved. Our father claimed they consulted their lawyer. Our mother disconnected without saying goodbye. 4 of us received a fresh copy of our parents' will 2 weeks ago, removed trust condition. Jacob's portion was now equal. They would sell the Singapore mansion after their deaths and share the earnings 4 ways. Though imperfect, it was better. I then received a private message from our mother. She inquired about Jacob. She inquired about his New Year's trip to Iceland with us. I didn't know. She asked whether he'd forgive her. No, I didn't know either. She wanted me to speak to him on her behalf. No, I said. I told them this was between them and I wouldn't relay anything. She hasn't phoned me since. 12 days passed. That's the longest silence in years. Still active. Siblings group chat. We chat virtually daily. Madeline sends kid photographs. Jacob sends memes. Though he typically responds with emoticons. Ethan is there. Iceland travel preparation continues. The 4 of us agreed to go. Last week our parents started making video chats with all of their grandkids, not just Ethan's kids. Rotation was established. One week they phone Madeline's kids. Next week they call Jacob's kids. The next week they call Ethan's kids. They haven't phoned me because Emily and I don't have kids, but our mother asked about my employment for the first time in months during our last conversation. Not repaired. Our mother still talks about Ethan most. She still sees him more than us, but she's trying. She sent Madeline a birthday card last month. She congratulated Jacob on his promotion. She's doing the bare minimum, but more than before. My opinion is that nothing is perfect. I doubt our mother will ever realize her mistake. However, the four of us now have each other. We have our own group chat, goals, and connection without our parents. That must suffice. Move on to the next story. Story 2. Car collision by sister, parents cover it up. I learned they took $50,000 from Granny to disguise her drunk driving. My parents hid my 20-year-old sister's automobile wreck 3 months ago, and I, 27F. It all started yesterday when my insurance company sent me a letter found out concerning a claim I never submitted. I opened it to see a $200 monthly premium increase. Thinking it was a mistake, I phoned them immediately. The guy told me my automobile was in an accident 3 months earlier. Since I used my car daily and it was okay, I felt ill. I thought it was fine until it made sense. A 2-week business travel to Chicago for a major customer presentation was 3 months ago. Airport parking costs $30 per day, so I left my car at my parents'. It seemed reasonable as they live 15 minutes from the airport. Sophia, my sister, resides with them while in her 3rd year at a local private college. After the journey, my automobile looked normal, but drove strangely. It was harder to steer and made a strange rattling sound as I turned right. After 2 weeks off the road, I felt I was paranoid. Now I know why it felt different. I've always been responsible since childhood. My dad was let off from his 20-year manufacturing career when I was 16. They laid off personnel everywhere due to budget cutbacks. After school, I worked in a diner to support my family. My parents received most of my evening and weekend wages to assist with expenses and groceries. It was too expensive for me to attend a 4-year college after high school. Instead, I attended community college while working full-time at an insurance company. I earned my Associate of Business Administration in 4 years instead of 2 because I took school part-time. However, my sister Sophia received a different deal. After daughter completed high school 3 years ago, my parents took out loans for her to attend an expensive private institution. Times had changed and dad had a better job, so they could afford it. To offer her chances they couldn't give me. I was initially thrilled for her, but it hurt when they purchased her a new car for her 18th birthday while I saved for 2 years to buy my used Honda. Sophia has always abused everything given to her. She crashed her birthday vehicle and our parents' replacement in the last year. Texting while driving caused her first rear-end collision. The second time she tied it around a tree while racing with pals. She wasn't wounded either time, but my parents constantly excused her mistakes by stating she was young and learning. They had me work additional shifts at my waitressing job to pay for repairs after I scratched their car while parallel parking when I was her age. Paying it off took 3 months. Sophia keeps getting excuses and enabling her actions. I drove immediately to my parents' house to face them after receiving the insurance notice yesterday. After I showed them the letter, they stopped acting stupid. They acknowledged Sophia stole my car when I was on business. She refused an Uber to a party with pals. She hit a barrier returning. Instead of notifying me, they brought it to their mechanic friend Mark, who mended it off the books. They wanted to avoid stressing me out on my critical business trip. The kicker came when I demanded additional specifics. They filed the claim with my insurance but changed the date so I wouldn't notice. They even claimed I swerved to avoid a deer while driving. Angry beyond words. They lied to me and perpetrated insurance fraud. Sophia cried when I asked her about it, stating she was afraid I would be furious. My parents instantly defended her, claiming I was too harsh and she made a mistake. Family does that. Therefore I should understand as her big sister. Protecting each other. The worst thing is that this accident I wasn't in has raised my monthly insurance costs by $200. I pay $2,400 more every year for their falsehoods. I asked my parents to pay the difference, but they stated I was selfish, that family supports family. They mentioned how they let me remain rent-free for 6 months after college before I obtained a job, as if it justified deception. I said this wasn't about aiding relatives. They were covering up Sophia's recklessness again and pulling me into their falsehoods. I demanded Sophia pay the higher rates and threatened to report the improper use of my automobile to the authorities. A family explosion ensued. My mother cried uncontrollably, fearing I would destroy Sophia's future for a tiny error. My dad grew red-faced and said that I was envious of Sophia and constantly attempted to hurt her. I left their house furious and deceived. I just have my 25 million cousin Ryan backing me. My parents' contrasting treatment has always been obvious to him. Added, our family has always favored Sophia and that it's time someone stood up to them. My parents have been phoning and messaging me non-stop for 24 hours, guilt-tripping me for breaking up the family and telling me I'm overreacting to a small mistake. I won't retreat. I told my insurance company about the false claim, and they're investigating. My folks are frightened and pleading with me to stop. After our confrontation, Sophia hasn't spoken to me, but she's been posting cryptic messages on social media about how some people never forgive mistakes. I don't think they understand that this is about facing consequences for once. Update 1. It's been 2 weeks since my last post, and things have gotten worse than I expected. The insurance company found out that Sophia crashed my car with 3 of her friends, Isabel, 20F, Luke, 20M, and Charlotte, 20F, who were not wearing seatbelts. Charlotte was seriously injured. My parents and Sophia tried to hide this from me. The insurance investigator called me in to review the complete accident report. My parents had told them I was driving to cover up Sophia's involvement, but the investigator found inconsistencies. Gas station security cameras showed Sophia behind the wheel at 2:43 a.m., minutes before the crash. The footage showed all 4 of them stumbling out of the gas station, clearly intoxicated. Charlotte had a compound fracture in her right arm that required immediate surgery. My parents paid her family $45,000 to keep quiet, and took out a second mortgage on their house to get the money. They broke down and told me everything when I confronted them about this new information. Sophia and her friends were at a college party that night. Instead of calling an Uber, she drove my car because it was easier. She was well over the legal alcohol limit when she lost control and hit the guardrail. Charlotte, in the rear seat, was flung forward and her arm fell through the front seat gap during contact. Sophia called my parents at 3 a.m. And when they came, Charlotte was wailing in agony, and the others were panicking. My dad drove Charlotte to the emergency room while Mom stayed with Sophia and the others. They told the staff that Charlotte fell down the stairs at their house during a sleepover. Charlotte's parents were understandably furious and wanted to press charges, but my parents begged them not to. Sophia would lose her full ride scholarship and possibly be jailed for drunk driving. After hours of negotiation, Charlotte's parents agreed to keep quiet if my parents paid for all medical expenses and Charlotte's missed semester of college. Sophia had the nerve to blame me when I tried to explain how serious this was. She said this wouldn't have happened if I hadn't left my car at our parents' house. Our parents nodded, saying I should have known better given Sophia's history with cars. I couldn't believe they were trying to blame me. My cousin Ryan found out Isabel and Luke were also paid off. My dad's lawyer friend gave them $5,000 to sign non-disclosure agreements. He didn't know the accident involved drunk driving because my parents told him it was just a fender bender they wanted to handle privately. Sophia has been on a social media rampage since I started pushing for the truth. She's posted long rants about how I'm trying to ruin her life over one mistake and how real sisters protect each other. She even shared old photos of us with captions about how money and insurance are more important to me than family. Several relatives have been calling me non-stop. My Aunt Susan said I'm cruel because everyone makes mistakes at that age. Uncle James said I'm bitter about Sophia getting more opportunities than me, but none of them seem to understand that this isn't about sibling rivalry. Sophia could have killed someone that night. Ryan showed me screenshots of a family group chat in which my parents are portraying me as the villain and saying I'm trying to get Sophia expelled from college out of jealousy. They conveniently left out the drunk driving and Charlotte's injury. The hardest part is seeing how many people are willing to overlook something this serious, because it's Sophia. If I had done something like this at her age, I would have been thrown under the bus immediately. But because it's their precious younger daughter, everyone is bending over backwards to protect her. I haven't backed down after the insurance investigator told me my parents could face serious charges for filing a false claim. My mom spent an hour crying about how I'm trying to send them to jail, and my dad called me ungrateful and said he should have never helped me with my college application. Due to the injuries, the insurance company has contacted Charlotte's family to get statements about the real events. My parents are panicking, leaving me desperate voicemails about how I'm destroying our family. Sophia hasn't apologized to me, but she texted, "I hope you're happy now that everyone's lives are ruined." Sophia doesn't seem to understand that she did this to herself. Ryan says she's been skipping classes and spending most of her time at parties, probably to avoid dealing with the situation. I'm angry but relieved that the truth is finally out. My parents enabling her behavior for years has done more harm than good. 1 month after my last update, Isabel, one of Sophia's friends who was in the car that night, reached out to me on Instagram and wanted to meet in person to share important information. I met Isabel at a coffee shop yesterday and learned that Sophia has been driving drunk at college parties, sometimes on weeknights. Our parents know about it, which is shocking. Isabel showed me text messages from 6 months ago. Sophia and our parents had dozens of conversations about picking her up from parties at 2 or 3 a.m. But what really got me was a series of texts from the night of my car accident. My parents had texted all 3 friends separately. Isabel felt guilty about taking the money, but she was afraid to tell Sophia because Sophia is popular on campus, and she didn't want to be rejected. The second mortgage story was a lie. Isabel overheard my parents telling Sophia that they used my grandmother's retirement savings to pay Charlotte's medical bills. They stole $45,000 from my grandma's account without telling her, promising to pay it back before she noticed. I called her to verify this, and she broke down crying and told me she discovered the missing money last week when she tried to pay her care facility fees. The facility sent her a notice about insufficient funds, and when she checked her account, the majority of her savings was gone. With this new information, I went back to the police. They're taking it more seriously because there's a pattern of enabling drunk driving and financial exploitation of an elderly person. They've started a formal investigation and contacted the college about Sophia's drinking habits. My mom called to tell me Sophia is my half-sister. Dad had an affair 20 years ago, and Sophia was the result. Mom found out when the other woman showed up pregnant at our door. To keep our family together, Mom raised Sophia. She said this is why they've always been so protective of Sophia. They feel guilty about her birth and want to make up for it. This explains a lot of their behavior over the years, but it doesn't excuse it. It makes it worse because they've been overcompensating at the expense of everyone, including Sophia. Ryan went through my parents' social media and found posts from the night of the accident that contradicted their story. They posted about having a quiet family dinner at home, but security footage shows them at the accident scene. He also found older posts about Sophia's previous accidents, which they claimed were minor fender benders but showed major damage. My parents called a family meeting at their house, but I refused to go. Ryan recorded it. They spent 2 hours telling everyone about Dad's affair and Sophia's true parentage, justifying why they needed to protect her more than me. The whole thing has become such a mess that even some of my parents' supporters are backing away. Uncle James called to apologize for his earlier comments, saying he hadn't known the full story. However, most of the family is still divided between those who believe blood is thicker than water and those who believe in accountability. I never wanted this to happen, but I'm glad it did. My parents' lies have hurt too many people, and they must stop before Sophia's recklessness kills someone. Update 3. After 3 months, Sophia was arrested for DUI after hitting a parked car outside a bar near her college. No one was hurt, but her blood alcohol level was 3 times the legal limit. The police linked this incident to my car accident, so they're investigating both cases. The insurance fraud investigation caught up with my parents at the same time, and when the police questioned them about the false claim, they confessed to everything: the cover-up, the payoffs, and using grandma's money. They're now charged with insurance fraud and financial elder abuse and are still defending Sophia. Mama phoned me weeping that Sophia needs treatment, not jail time, and attempted to guilt me one final time by saying I should drop all charges since Sophia's life will be wrecked. Dad sent me a long email about how I've destroyed our family by not keeping things private. Grandma moved in with me 2 weeks ago because she couldn't stand my parents anymore after learning about her savings. She's the only one besides Ryan who supports what I did. We're working with a lawyer to recover her money. The lawyer says, "We have a strong case since my parents had no legal right to access her savings." After learning about the elder abuse, some relatives ended contact with my parents while others said, "I should have found a way to handle this privately." Sophia's biological mom even came out of the woodwork demanding to be involved now that everything's public. She's trying to blame my parents for Sophia's behavior, saying they spoiled her to compensate for the affair. Ryan told me that Sophia and my parents are still playing the victim on social media, posting about how families should stick together through hard times and sharing old photos with forgiveness captions. Sophia's drunk driving pattern has prompted the college to investigate her academic record. She's been missing classes and her grades are falling, and she was already on academic probation before this happened. My lawyer advised me to stay away from them during the legal proceedings, which is hard because this is still my family, but I know it's necessary. Last week, security escorted my parents out of work. They don't seem to understand that their actions have real consequences. The insurance company is also pursuing charges. The investigator revealed proof that my parents had made fraudulent claims previously, not only for my automobile accident. They might face fines or jail time. I'm concentrating on helping grandmother recover and going forward with my life. Ryan has been amazing, helping me document everything and keeping me updated on family reactions without letting me get dragged into the drama. Sometimes I lie awake at night wondering if I did the right thing by not keeping this private like they wanted. But then I remember how they used Grandma's retirement money without permission, let Sophia keep driving drunk, and tried to make me the bad guy for wanting the truth.